Welcome, dear Patriot, to this instance, this participatory function, this stratum of the stratagem, dare I say. I want to tell you about a story which is this should really scare you. This is one which I don't think a lot of people which of you caught. United Natural Foods. You know who that is? United Natural Foods is the wholesale group, or the wholesale grocery distributor for Amazon, Whole Foods. They took some of its systems offline in response to a cyber attack. And the disruption, it appears, seems to be, it led to sparsely stocked shelves at Whole Foods, showing again the vulnerability of food. This is Whole Foods now. This is not just, In the statement put out Monday, the Rhode Island-based company announced that it had proactively pulled the plug on multiple systems after detecting what it described as unauthorized activity. This is their quote. As soon as we discovered the activity, an investigation was initiated with the help of leading forensics experts, and we have notified law enforcement. We are assessing the unauthorized activity and working to restore our systems to faithfully and safely bring them back online. And a filing with the SEC, United, which reportedly detected the intrusion on June the 5th, said the incident has caused and is expected to continue to cause temporary disruptions to the company's business expectations and operations. Shoppers already noticed the effects. In posts on social media, consumers reported a lack of products at numerous Whole Food locations. A Whole Foods said they were empty, blah, 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 blah. Now, United did not answer questions about whether any ransomware groups known for data theft were involved. We don't know about this. Let me say this again to you. When I have talked about food safety and food security, some people think I'm kind of maybe exaggerating a little bit. Maybe I'm just, maybe it's not really a big of a deal. I don't know how many times I have to tell you, it is a big deal. And that's why you have to listen to our great friends at preparedness.com. They are giving you warning after warning. Let me ask you a question. What happens when the trucks stop? Think about this. Trucks, the trucks that bring your food. And then when one store closes because of a riot or ransomware hit or a hurricane or even manufactured weather. Oh, yeah, we've talked about that. What happens when all of a suddenly the entire supply chain collapses like dominoes? What happens then? We've seen it happen, and it doesn't take much. And that's the thing you've got to think about. A trucker strike, a cyber attack, some EMP, some Carrington-class disaster, a city shut down by violence. It only takes one spark for shelves to go empty fast. And when that happens, and when that moment hits, you either have what you need or you don't. And that's why I am telling you, I want you to go to preparedwithlionel.com. Our trusted friends at My Patriot Supply, they are offering unbelievable deals right now. You've got to see deals on emergency food kits that could save your life and your sanity. Over 2,000 calories per day for 3 months of food per person, shelf stable for 25 years in any kind of combinations you want, and made to taste like actual meals, not cardboard, not some military MRE. These kits aren't just insurance, they're peace of mind. So go to preparedwithlionel.com. Secure your kit, secure your future. Preparedwithlionel.com, preparedwithlionel.com, because when the world breaks down, the prepared don't panic. I don't know where to start right now, so I'm just going to jump into it. The first question I got to ask you is, how involved do you want to be in this? Like most people, you want to know, okay, tell me what I need to know. All right, I'll tell you what you need to know. Tell me what I need to know, and tell me what I need to do to be aware of what's going on. Well, let me see if I can explain this to you, right? Here's the latest. You're not going to be hearing this. Which theater do you want to talk about? When I say theater, theater of war. Domestic, foreign, both, combination, elections, politics, cultural wars. What do you think? What is it? What is the, how do I say this? What is the level that you want to go to? Because you're not hearing anything. I know I talk a lot about Fox News because I can't help it. Because there are people who, honest to God, think that it is just one of these things, that it is a legitimate, actual source of information, and that it is, let me see, that it's, honest and straightforward. And if you don't hear no Fox News, don't worry about it. I don't even know what to tell you. I have friends of mine who are, by virtue of this, I don't know what the word is. Maybe their feelings regarding the Middle East, maybe their feelings regarding Israel, maybe Hamas or Gaza. I don't know. But they are failing to assess what is happening based upon their like or dislike of the various parties involved. I want to ask them, do you understand what this means? Just start with this. Do you understand? Two areas. Ukraine and the Middle East. People have this idea that really, Hamas it's all about Hamas. And all Hamas has to do is just kind of give up, and all is groovy. And that's it. Just give up and turn over your stuff and go home, and they'll put an end to this. That all of this is their fault. You've heard this story. This is their fault. They're doing this. It's their doing. See what I'm saying? It's their stuff. So don't think for a moment that there's anything that, Israel would be happy just to go ahead and just put everything behind them and put everything to bed, and that's it. And you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, when you say something, this is so critical. We'll just start with this. When you say something and you say, no, I don't know if that's true or not, I'm worried about this. They say, well, doesn't Israel have the right to defend itself? And you say, well, of course it has the right to. Well, what's the matter with you? Do you promote this anti-Semitic nonsense? This is where we go. And it stops. And it's a very clever technique because all discussion of it stops. It stops immediately. It stops right in the middle of everything. And therefore, that is the problem, my friend. I don't want to talk about this because you better pay attention, really pay attention. And do not let people throw you off with this nonsense. There are people that I know who say, Israel has a right. I say, you're not paying attention. I've been through this through my whole life with Vietnam, and we said the same thing, and it was a different story. You don't understand if we don't get to the bottom of this, and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It is so incredibly, it is beyond dangerous. Let me see something. Our good friend Pilgrim Media says, I have been collecting freeze-dried since 16. Yeah. This isn't freeze-dried, but that's good. You should do this. Prepare with Lionel. A little different, but yeah. And by the way, can you go 30 days? Could you do 30 days and not drive yourself crazy? To have a variety. But not only that, systems. I'm going to do another part of the ad. I appreciate this, but you cannot possibly take into account the state of the art and what's being done right now. But good for you. At least you're aware of this, which is excellent. Let me see. Pilgrim said this. Our good friend Ryan says this entire situation in LA is the biggest example of a massive propaganda war between the right and the left. Trying to sift through the crap to the truth is exhausting. I don't want to be a party pooper, but LA is really nothing. LA is nothing. I think everybody wants LA to be. I think the left and the right both want it. the LA situation, there's no chance of it ever basically involving a nuclear war. There is a chance of a nuclear war. You know that, right? What with, and this is important, what with what's going on with Ukraine, and to an extent Israel, when Israel decides to attack Iran. The Pentagon has issued reportedly a stark warning that says Israel may launch a direct military strike against Iran within days. So this is what people are saying. Some say we can't. It could happen. We don't know. We don't know if it's misinformation. We don't know what it is. And nobody's talking about it because we're talking about L.A. According to myriad high-level U.S. defense officials, it is reported that Israel is prepared to move on Iran's nuclear infrastructure with or without American approval. And this announcement comes on the heels of Iran's completion of a third uranium enrichment site, its most substantial move towards weapons-grade capabilities, theoretically in decades. And tensions are now at the boiling point. Iran is saying, no, we're not doing this. We want to be able to use nuclear fissile material for medicine and the like, and others are saying, doesn't matter. Does Iran pose a threat to you? Doesn't pose a threat to the United States. Sorry, doesn't. That's a distraction. In preparation for the possibility of a regional conflagration, the U.S. has authorized the evacuation of non-essential embassy staff and their families from sensitive locations across the Middle East, it is reported, including Iraq, Bahrain, and Kuwait. Military bases are shifting to higher alert. Fighter jet squadrons and missile defense systems are being repositioned in anticipation of potential Iranian counterstrikes. And with President Trump growing skeptical about further diplomatic efforts and increasingly aligned with hardline Israeli security assessments, a military option seems no longer theoretical. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has responded with predictable fury, promising a full-scale retaliatory campaign targeting U.S. and allied interests across the region. From Tel Aviv to Bahrain, military installations, oil infrastructure, and even civilian airports could become targets in what may rapidly escalate into a regional war. Analysts warn that such a scenario would inevitably draw in global powers and destabilize already volatile fronts in Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq. In effect, creating the ignition point for a larger global conflict. And at the same time, I'm reading the latest news. Recently surfaced CIA documents have triggered alarm over alleged false flag operations under prior administrations. These materials outline scenarios where U.S. intel might covertly provoke civil unrest, even fatalities among demonstrators to catalyze regime change or justify draconian policy shifts. Though unconfirmed is current policy, the parallels to past programs like Operation Northwoods add credence to concerns. Americans, my friends, are increasingly asking, are we the target of psychological and hybrid warfare? 5GW, fifth generation warfare. The domestic front is no less fraught. The FBI has initiated targeted arrests of individuals linked to NGOs accused of orchestrating violent protests. Officials are claiming that these groups have leveraged foreign disinformation campaigns to radicalize demonstrators and destabilize public trust. While civil liberties groups are already decrying the move as authoritarian overreach, federal sources insist that a broader crackdown on coordinated sedition is both legal and necessary. Now, the convergence of these crises, an imminent military escalation abroad, and an internal crackdown at home, presents an unprecedented movement in American history. Never before have the risks of World War III and civil conflict seemed so tightly intertwined. So what happens next? If Israel does indeed strike Iran, a military theater war could unfold in days. The U.S. might be forced to commit assets, if not troops, to defend strategic allies and prevent wider destabilization. Retaliatory actions from Iran's proxies, Hezbollah, Houthis, and various Shia militias could flood the region with asymmetrical warfare. And don't forget, if anybody attacks Iran, Russia has pledged fealty and coordinated support with them. And simultaneously, domestic unrest could take on newer character. If it becomes evident that intelligence agencies have manipulated or inflamed tensions at home, the public trust, whatever's left of it, in governance may deteriorate beyond repair. Congressional inquiries would likely follow, but whether they could stem the tide of institutional collapse, who knows? Meanwhile, the arrests of protest leaders could be seen either as the neutralizing of domestic threats or the opening volley in a campaign of political suppression, depending on one's ideological lens. All of this, my friend, all of this underscores a single, simple truth. The world is on a knife's edge. From Tehran to Washington, from Tel Aviv to TikTok, information, what we're talking about, information and disinformation, whatever that is, are shaping the global events in real time. My friend, the machinery of war and propaganda are operating in tandem. And the consequences that we're seeing could reshape geopolitics for a generation. Think I'm exaggerating? And in such times, vigilance is not optional, it is imperative. What you read, share, and believe will influence the public consensus that drives policy. So, my friends, stay informed. Question everything. Watch the skies and the screens, because this isn't just another news cycle. This may be the prelude to something far more permanent. And this is what I'm trying to get across to folks. But as you know, and as you can imagine, many people believe that they live in a world where we just don't have to worry about these things anymore. We really don't have to worry about them because that was the old days. Do you think that makes sense? Do you feel a sense of fright? Fright? Do you have any idea? Recently, we had this wonderful, we've got friends of ours who announced that there was a baby coming, the daughter, anyway, down the road, down the line. And while I'm offering my congratulations, the question came up, and I ask you the question. What do you think? Do you think this is more of a perilous time for a child to be raised now than ever before? Let me ask that question. Susie Q says, be ready. Be ready for what? See, when I've talked about this, people inherently will say, I really don't want you to spend a lot of time discussing this, negative, this. We don't want to hear about this. Don't scare us. Don't scare us. That's what people think. They really think to themselves, don't scare us. I'm looking at this and I said, these poor children today, I don't even know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell them. Everything's different so differently. This week was, checkup week and all this stuff. And I have found out that as an example, 5 years, not 5 years, the state of the merging of cardiology and lipidology have changed in light years in 5 years. 5 years. 5 years. Do you know now, I'm changing this subject, but just as an example, this is how fast this works. Everybody from the time they maybe are maybe 30, but different, but before that, you have to go in and you have to sit there and you have to have one simple, specific target. One, if it's even possible. One target, one thing, one focus regarding, let's just say, cardiac health. Just nothing more, because everybody loves to talk about all this stuff. One target. And when you tell people this, I'm saying, and I've seen this research, and it is absolutely mind-blowing. And it is irrefutable, though civilians will weigh in otherwise. And there's one thing you need: an LDL of 50 or lower. That's it. That's the target. If you have 100, there's no need to do calcium scoring and this and that. You have plaque. You have atherosclerosis. It's there. It's there. Soft plaque. It's done. Finished. Through. Done. And then it's going to be a matter of, okay, how do we sustain this? All of this has to be done so early that by the time you hit 30, 40, 50, things can be done, because most of the time they're finding fatty streaks in children. Now, when you say this, immediately people will say, oh, I know something about this. I have one friend of mine who sends me things about how cholesterol is good for you and how, anyway, I'm giving you an example of what, and you'll find out why. The reality is telling you one thing, but because we live in a world of information and pseudo-information, and you call it disinformation, but just all this bombarding, you can see all these people come forward and saying these things. We are going to miss the point, sad to say, dear friends. And yet people today, like Joe Rogan and others and Jordan Peterson, will talk about eating saturated fats. And all right, that's just the heart. You think people would want to say, wait a minute, tell me the truth about myself. I don't give a damn about Iran or whatever. Even stuff that affects you, we can't get a consensus because everybody's an expert. And I'm not saying this is not my information. This is cardiology. So when somebody says, this baby from the time it is out of his mother's womb, I'm telling you to arm patients. You better find a pediatrician that understands your concerns about vaccines. Get ready. Then that child is not going to be able to go to different things unless it has all of its vaccines. This kid isn't even weaned yet. And already it's under the full frontal attack from the government in terms of vaccines. And it's a baby. It's a little baby. Already you can say, you know what, I'm going to hold off. Oh, no, because we've got to get this in you and indoctrinate you that that's baby's going to have HPV and this and that. Your child's not going to get HPV. It's a baby. No, you don't understand. This is the world we live in right now. This is why good luck with this. And when you tell people about this, you've got to start talking and looking for babies and pediatricians now. Before anything. Then you're going to have to set yourself up in a way where you're going to have to say, what do we do and how do we handle devices? You have to brainwash that kid. There's nothing worse than an 11 or 12-year-old who sees a new form of stuff introduced. If you have a baby, at least first, you can say, all right, I'm going to keep devices away. You have to keep devices away from children. Devices kill people. Not because of the radiation, because of the information. These are babies. Your kid is set up for atherosclerotic, thrombotic, from the get-go, from its first steps. So by the time it might be even in his teens, you're going to be showing fatty streaks, setting up for heart attack, setting up for this. And doctors themselves say, well, you know, your LDL, it's under 100. No, less than 50. What? Yes. And then you have these idiots who say, you know, statins are bad. No. Okay, that's that. Then your child's going to say, what kind of a world from the time that child enters? It is bathed in from the delivery room. It is bathed in Wi-Fi and 5G, and it's like never done. From that time and right now, that developing baby is subject to not only genetic influence and the like, but epigenetics, and I mean, it's the scare. I haven't even gotten to Iran yet. That little baby. Then you got to ask, well, where's that little baby born? In the U.S.? What's better? Where? I talked to Dane Wigington the other day. Dane Wigington from geoengineering.org. And he told me, he said, you're lucky because you're living in, if you're in a coastal area, where New York, we're a coast. If you're in the middle of the country, and in Northern California, he's hitting heat temperatures in the hundreds. And it's not about global warming. It's about what's being sprayed. So this child, when the child goes out to play, it is already breathing in. And if I told these parents who sit there and buy that book, what's that book that women say, what to do before the baby comes? Or say, no, you're reading something that was like 70 years ago. What is this? It's a different world now. That baby is from the get-go. They're going to bombard that little precious little baby whose own immune system, and you're going to hit them, and they're going to tell you, and doctors are going to say, you hit that baby right now because, whooping cough. And say, can we just wait a minute? It's a different world right now. Medicine, newborns, devices, war, I don't know. This child is going to be in a world for the first time ever of social media, and you are wasting your time talking about this stupid thing called Los Angeles. It's a waste of time. Who cares? President Trump could stop this in a heartbeat if he wanted to. President Trump could stop this. If this was stopped, there's no movement. You know, sometimes you got to break a leg to reset it. That's what we need right here. That is the biggest. There's the biggest nothing story. It's nothing. It's not important. You obviously don't want to contain it. You don't want to contain it. If I see your house is on fire and you're outside and I say, did you call the fire department? Nope. We're talking about this. We're saying, I wonder what caused our house. Your house is on fire. Put it out. Might have been electrical. I don't know if it was electrical. Maybe, that's what we're doing. You know this. You can see this. Nobody cares about this. Nobody. They're pretending something. Government is in a kabuki dance or something. We have a guy who's running for, I don't even know his name. He's the lefty. I kind of gave up on New York politics. It's we have this thing in New Jersey with Mikey Sherrill and Chitterelli. His name is mispronounced. It's Cha-Terelli. But in any event, that's going to go left. She's going to win, this Mikey Sherrill. Here in New York City, we have this guy. I don't know what he is, but he is so left. He is, and he's a dangerous, attractive, calm. He's not some guy with dreadlocks named Mobuku Umbutu, that kind of thing. It's just a regular guy. He's got a foreign name, but what is his name, honey? This guy, hang on, New York. This guy is, yes, Mamdani. This is the one. This guy is so good. He's going to win this thing. Mamdani. And he's going to beat Cuomo. Now, let me go back to the child in a moment. His name is Zoran Mamdani. Zoran Mamdani. Okay? Bronx School of Science. He was born in Kampala, Uganda. Smart as a whip. As left. He is left. You even to call him left. He's beyond it. The word left doesn't even apply. It's like, I don't know. That's like saying Ronnie Coleman was strong. And this guy stood up in front of all these people. This is so interesting. He stood up in front of all these people and he asked, they said, what do you think you're going to do? What are you going to do? The first thing you're going to do when you're mayor? What's the first thing? What is the first thing you're going to do? What is it? What are you going to do? The first thing. And this idiot, this Chidrulo, Cuomo says, I'm going to go to Israel. He's playing that AIPAC thing, whatever, which is, okay, it's fine. This is where he's going. You know what Mamdani said? I'm staying here. What the hell do I want to go to Israel for? I'm thinking to myself, finally somebody's saying thank you. Israel, Iran, Russia, stay here. So the lefty makes more sense to me, but nothing else that he does. So see where I have no choice? Another con. The biggest con is Bobby Kennedy Jr. Bobby Kennedy's doing everything in his power. Did you see his vaccine advisory board? Watch what happens to these guys. Wait to see what happens with these guys. It's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. They're going to talk maybe about meeting. This is kind of like an advisory board or something. And they're going to be talking about this stuff and nothing will ever happen. Bobby Kennedy, I don't know if they bought him off, scared him, if they've got dirt on him. I have no idea. I don't know what it is, but he came out like gangbusters. And I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's troubled. I think he's, when you're a heroin addict, you don't get too many of those. You know how it rewires your brain. It rewires everything. And if you think for a moment that he's going to get by this without any problem, you're out of your mind. So that's that. We have Kabuki theater. And this little baby coming, I'm saying, oh my God. Oh my God. What happens? Where are we going? Nothing gets done in this country. So far, I think it's safe to say Trump has been in office for 10% of his tour. What has he done? Quick, what has he done? What has he done? What has he done? What happened with the tariffs? What happened with that? Anybody know? I don't know. Anybody know? I don't know. Any problem with it? I don't know. What about the tariffs? They said, who was it? Caroline Levitt. It was very good. She said, well, it's a good deal. Made a good deal. This is Trump speak. Well, it's not a perfect deal. We made a deal with China. I mean, it's not perfect, but at least it's a good deal. What deal? What does this mean? I don't know. They just stopped talking about it. They stopped talking about And the first thing they're going to do, going back to my original story about this young baby, redundant, is they're going to go after this kid and they want that child. Predators want the child. Military wants a child. Big Pharma wants a child. Education wants a child. We want to take the child and indoctrinate him. That kid should never step foot in a public school class. Now, I don't know if the parents are interested in this because most people don't think like that because they have this ridiculous idea that somehow there's this thing called socialization. Bullshit is social. No. This is the worst time to have kids. The worst time. I don't have this. I'm not just being. What we grew up with, say goodbye. Say goodbye. This country is so devoid. There is absolutely such. And we have a group of people, and thanks to social media, we have people who believe they're somehow involved in something, but they're really not. I mean, they know some stuff, and they get mad, but they really don't do anything because voting is still suppressed voluntarily, not because of the government. They find themselves just basically walking around doing nothing. Just doing nothing, I'm telling you. Nothing. It's the most incredible thing in the world. How does this happen? How in the name of God does this happen? Tell me. I don't get it. How does this happen? So right off the bat, keep your eye with Russia. Thank God Putin and Lavrov are the only adults in the room. I mean it. Thank God for them. I feel so much more. I guess they have, but Marco Rubio scares the shit out of me. Lindsey Graham, a lot of the So the good news also is Elon kind of came back. Now Elon, I think, might be either on drugs, the result of drugs, because when you're on drugs for a long time, and that was suspected, and ask Bobby Kennedy, your brain changes. Your brain changes. Elon was crazy, walking around with a chainsaw and that kid on his neck. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he's back. I think he had the equivalent of drunk dialing or, 3 o'clock in the morning, these rants. Terry Moran sure found out, huh? That's a smart guy. Now he said, hey, guess what? I'm on Substack now. Terry, nobody gives a shit about you in this. People think Substack is going to save you. Nobody cares. They watched you because you were on ABC. It's over. So right now, what has been our biggest accomplishment? Now, Saturday is the president's birthday, the 14th, right? And they want to have this big military, I guess, parade. What's your thoughts regarding military parades? Anybody? Anybody? What are your thoughts? Are military parades good? Do you like them? I know what you're going to say. Tanks, and weapons, and arms, but people. It's going to cost, I don't know how many, 30, but we're going to show weapon, $30 million. What do you think about that? Who's for that? Anybody? What do you think about that? Are you with me? Because are we frozen here? What the hell's going on here? I'm seeing the same. Let me see the same stuff. I know what you're going to say. I think it's great. Oh, glory. Support our military, right? Who think it's a good idea? Tell me. Let me make sure we're still okay because it seems like we're kind of frozen or something. I don't know what the hell we're. There we go. Who's for this? Anybody? Who do you think? Who's for it? Frederick BK says, I am in favor of military parades. Why? It's the 250th anniversary of our United States Army. Okay. You say, I think it's great. Why do you think it's great? Drone parade might be better. That's very good. Why do you think it's better? Why? I live on Juno Beach, Normandy. Every June 6th, we have military parades all along the coast and in towns that were liberated. Okay. Why do you think that was it? Was it the military? Why are we doing this? What is the downside, do you think? What is, dare I say, the downside of having military tribunals and tribunals? What do you think that is? What's the message it gives? Come on, you can do it. I know you can do it. What's the message it gives? What do you think the real message is that it gives? You should just see this. This one's stuck. I got to go back to the other ones. Okay, I'll go back and see what you have to do. Okay, what do you have to do? Tell me. I hope those Doge geniuses can continue exposing fraud without Musk. How much fraud has been exposed? Anything? Is this significant? No, of course not. Is it an act? Kind of. Is it a work? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's What are we doing? See the problem? National pride. Why is military national pride? What does a tank have to do with my national pride? When I think of the United States, I don't think of military. Why do we have flyovers at football games? Why do we have all this stuff? Why does that mean? Why do we have this war fetish? What do we have about guns? And this is what we're about the military. Don't fuck around with us. Is that the message we want? Do you like that? FAFO, right? Fuck around and find out. Is that it? Is that our? I mean, that's great for, I guess social media, but that's not to be our message. What does that mean? F around and find out. How about cooperate and prosper? See, we love this tough guy thing because we live by ourselves and we don't have to fight this stuff. We love tough guy. Oh yeah, you mess with us and we'll take care of you, huh? You think that's good? I don't know, maybe. That's the most ridiculous, childish thing we've ever seen. We love this war, and you go fight that. Once you get behind that tank, that's not the United States. We're not about guns and tanks. Don't mess with us or we'll nuke you. Is that what you really want? Do you think the war? Do you think? And right now we're telling other people, other countries, you can't have what we have. We live in this little boy world, this tough guy, the bully at the playground, and We love Patton and we love this stuff. And it's this sort of, I think it's a disgrace to who we are. Look at what we've done and produced and created. Brian Wilson died, as you know, who was an absolute genius. I think he was more genius than Lennon and McCartney ever could, because it was Brian Wilson by himself. They had the two of them plus George Martin. It was Brian Wilson. He rediscovered harmonies. What is America? Is it about what we destroy, what we blow up, or what we make? About our ethic, about who we are as a people. See, nobody wants to think about that, because that's not, see, that wouldn't work good on the Jesse Waters show. Come on. Today's group are people just like, I was watching that, I have to watch sometimes because in the radio studio, they have this TV and they have Fox News and they have that, whatever that 5 for 5 or whatever. You've got Gray Gutbucket and this guy Typhoid, the hyperglandular guy with the tattoos and the hat backwards. People love that because he's a big guy. L.J. Jackson says, Lionel, you sir are the Victor Borga of late night on the other side. Love you and thank you. I hope to call in one night or morning. Please do. It's so much fun. And come on July the 19th at the Cutting Room. This is the most important thing. Come on. That's the best of both worlds. So thank you for that. Freedom is not free. What does that mean? There are countries that are free. They've never fired a shot. Freedom isn't free. You sound like in the old days, like, better to fight them there than here. What does that mean? I don't know. I just say that. Freedom is not free. We are a country of slogans. We love this stuff. Listen, I'm all for if somebody wants to, mess around with us, we'll do it. But you are feeding into, you should just write your check and send your money to the military-industrial complex, the war profiteers. Go to General Jack Keane and the Institute for the Study of War and Raytheon and Northam Grumman, and listen to what you're saying. You are the reason why there is a military-industrial complex. What do we need all this stuff for? We don't need this. Having a military does not mean all these weapons. See, that's where they make their money. It's not in manpower. I'm all for the notion of having, if you want to do something, have military service or societal service, volunteer service. That's where we're great. Listen, we have to stop acting like teenage kids, being tough guy with, it's like the kid who drives daddy's muscle car on the weekend. It's daddy's car. It's not his. Freedom's not free. What? Who poses? Who is coming after us? Guess where the theaters of war are? It's in other countries that we're getting our nose in. Do you really think that there's a tank that's going to stop Putin? Do you think we're ready to go up against China? And there's a wonderful thing, the responsibility of, I love this, of Great Britain. Great Britain has always been kind of behind the scenes, the whole notion of Europe. So going back to what I'm saying, I would say to this little baby that isn't even hatched yet, I would say, now be careful. When you go online, you're going to meet a bunch of people who don't know anything. They're full of slogans and bumper stickers, and everybody loves Colonel McGregor. Loves him. Did you hear what he said? Nah, not really. What he's saying is completely contrary to what a lot of people are saying here. War should be like, there are tools in the surgical suite, amputation saws and things like that. Those are the last resort. That's what war is. But a lot of people sit back and, no, they like this. They like to see guns and remember when people said, wasn't it great how Israel had those pagers and blew up those pagers? What if you were on a plane next to somebody who had one of those pagers? Or that there was a child of the person. Nobody cares about that. They just thought it was cool. It was like Mission Impossible cool. What's the matter with us? We have to let the adults handle this. And what I found out is that there's a lot of kids, especially in the world of social media, they really have no business doing this. By the way, Laura Loomer is so spot on. It's not even funny. Do you see that Indian flight that blew up? One survivor? Was it one? One survivor. What was that about? Don't know what it's about yet, but we'll find out. People will immediately jump in and think, wow, there's something wrong with it. But there has seemed to be a lot more airline problems than one that meets the eye. So right now, going back, LA is not, they want this to go on. There's a place in Philadelphia called Kensington. And Kensington is so sad. They have all these people walking around and they look like they're frozen in some kind of Tai Chi. I don't know what they're doing, whatever this drug is, but it freezes them and they make these weird contorted, whatever. Anyway, so make a long story very, 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 very short. They do this, and make a long story even shorter. They have this mayor who says, well, we have to have the outreach programs. Well, we got to do our best. No. If you wanted to clean that up, you would have trucks that would come up, vans and trucks and buses. You would get everybody off the street. You would take them somewhere. I don't know where, but you take them somewhere. Get them off the street. Have a huge water cannon. Clean everything. I mean, clean that city dry. Every corner crevice. Spray it down. Put disinfectant from the blood and the semen and the dirt and the grime and the pills and the needles. It's horrible. And you get these people and you can say, move them. Because when you see them, think of these people in the street as people that you would come up after a car accident. They're lying in the street, thrown from windshield. You, of course, look after them, but you move them. You take them to a hospital. You take them someplace. You don't just sit around and offer them therapy as they bleed to death. That's what the Philadelphia mayor, the woman who couldn't spell the name Eagles, that's what she's doing. Well, we're doing the best we can. Bullshit. Other people are looking at us and saying, I thought in the U.S. couldn't even handle people burning down L.A. So this poor child coming into the world has got this. This is where it works. In the old days, we would have said, we always talk about police success. There's no more police success. Look at what Mayor Daley did in the old days. Delilah says, my head swirls with what is going on. But I think we will have a huge disaster. Maybe one than one. Will it take the people to wake up? You cannot tell people. You have to show them. Nobody cares. I think you're right about that. And by the way, Delilah, I don't know. All I know is nobody wants to fix this. I'll take care of Los Angeles. That's it. Kettling. Arrest them. Take them off to a FEMA camp. Process them. This is called insurrection. Individuals currently involved in interfering with a federal offense. This is called insurrection. But we're not doing it. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. But we talk about it. And a lot of people are getting used to the government just not doing anything. Well, that's the way the government is. Well, I don't think like that. So the good news is, my friend, remember a couple of things. Number one, every night, overnights, tomorrow is the Friday version, 1 to 5 a.m. overnights. It is wild on WABC, 77 WABC, 770 WABC, WABCradio.com. Get the 77 app. That's number one. Number two, July the 19th at the Cutting Room. It's absolutely going to be tremendous, splendiferous. It's going to be beauteous, wonderful, great, ginormous. Can't say it any other way. It's going to be perfect. That's coming up. So be aware and focus on that. It's going to be wonderful. And we're going to have so much fun doing so many great things. But understand the way things are. I'm not into the sloganeering. I don't care about that. All I'm saying is most probably this guy, Mamamdi, whatever his name is, he's going to probably win, which is sad. Mikey Sherrill's going to win in New Jersey. The left they're really not going away. And the right is we're just in a world of just talking about it. Cash Patel hasn't done shit. Dan Bongino. Pam Bondi, bless her heart. Bless her heart. The one who's really doing something is Alina Habba. At least she's going after that Jadrul who was involving themselves. So, and the president is happy because there's going to be a big military parade, which, okay. But that's not the United States. We're not the military. That's not who we are. And when you tell people, they look at you and say, what are you talking about? That's not who that's not who we are. We're even more special. So anyway, dear friends, thank you for this. Have a great and a glorious and a splendiferous day. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for being a part of this great, beautiful world. Thanks to all our friends who've contributed with this super chat. I don't have access to it now because my screen for some reason is frozen. Mrs. L will be doing a live at 5 today, so follow Lynn's Warriors. Make sure you go online. Lynn's Warriors, she'll tell you what's going on in the world of Washington and the like. Don't forget, July 19th at the Cutting Room, I'll be there. Tickets are available online. Check in the section below. And thank you for your support, your contributions, for keeping us going. Because remember, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Because the left doesn't like me, the right doesn't like me. And that's the best place to be. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. We love you. Stay tuned. Subscribe to Lionel Nation and hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. We might pop up later on this evening. One never knows. Until then, my friends, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad. Hey, wait. This is the craziest thing. I'm so long trying to turn this damn thing off. Oh, well.